Yeah, let's get into it, man. I want to shout out to Megs. Megs always comes through and hooking people up, Megs. Give it up for Megs. Megs is in the house. I got my tea ready tonight. I ain't messing with y'all. Yeah, I can do that. I got my tea on deck. Yeah, I know what it is. I said, I know what it is. Do you know what it is? So welcome to the Tim Black Show. Let me let people know where they at. For the record, I'm what you call a Democratic Party hater. I think maybe some people are starting to believe me. It only took 13 years. I think they're starting to sink in. Hey, this guy doesn't like the Democrats. Hey. We cover U.S. politics, breaking news, and black culture on this channel. We run down the business. We give people the business. We tell the truth. We are not affiliated with any party. We don't do the bidding of any party. I'm not here to make you become anything other than a thinker, an independent thinker, Johnson. And we like to have conversations that are important around important events. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And I'm not going to lose my cool. Nope. Not going to lose my mind tonight, man. Don't push me, because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. That was my favorite song. Well, I was 6. I don't know how old I was. But I remember my brother playing that joint over and over, man. And my favorite part was, that was the lyric. What are we going to put in that spot? So, man, we in the house, man. I want to say welcome to the Tim Black Wolfpack. Members of the Tim Black Wolfpack, have you picked up your legacy mug yet? What's up? How you not going to have a legacy mug? Go to timblackmug.com, get your legacy mug. $20 to your door. I pay the shipping, or it's in the price. Dishwasher, microwave, and hater safe. Politics for the people, says it right there. Politics for the people, not politics for the Democrats or politics for the Republicans. It's politics for the people. For the people. Get into it. Go to timblackmug.com. Man, what is going on with people, man? Tonight's topic, I got a couple things to get to, but topics. The Epstein case is not going away. It's not going away, Johnson. We're going to break down. That's our main feature tonight. Good times. We're going to get into it, man. What's going on with this? I hope that people are ready for it. This story, this one of them good stories right here, man. Yeah, this is a good topic to get into, man. I'm feeling good about it. This is where we separate the real from the fake. Oh, I saw the tiny desk. I ain't watched the whole thing though, right? So I'm sitting in here, I'm doing my prep work on my, doing my prep work, my research work for my show tonight. And I hit the boom, tap, right? I tapped in the tiny desk and it said clips. It said clips. And I'm like, okay. And it came on. I was like this. Oh, I start rapping. I'm like, oh, this is the bomb right here, son. Oh. I went back to 1992. I went back to 1988. The bridge, huh? The bridge. It's like, what? Picture a mic. The stage is empty. A beat like that might tempt me. I was in this joint. What? That's a joint. That's how it was, baby. I'm telling me, oh, this used to be like this broadcast. Y'all should team up. They don't be like this on their show. I seen them. Got a pole stuck up their butts. I don't rock with people like that. You can't be like, oh, what's up? You can't. You ain't like that. I don't want to rock with you. Look, man. Here on the Tim Black Show, we cover news from a vantage point of realness, man. But that tiny desk, man, I'm trying to tell you, I was in here dropping bars, son. So here, freestyling. I'm feeling good, man. That's how dope it was. So highly recommended. I gotta listen to the rest. I heard 2 songs, and both were outstanding. Highly recommended, my brothers. Highly recommended. And so what he's talking about drugs. I'm way past that. Yeah, I know kids might be influencing the children. Stop watching killer movies. Watch them though, don't you? Some of the real life stuff they see in their home probably influence them a lot more than that record. Just saying. Just saying. And I don't think Pusha T is really for the like teenagers. Why would they listen to a 45, 48-year-old man anyway, rap? That's for us, man. Pharrell ain't making me. All right, so look, guys. Tonight we're going to have a good time. Tonight we're going to chop it up. We got the topics on the board. Survey says, la. Where are we? I said, where are we? Party people's in the building, man. It's good. It's good. She cooks and she roasts. Elena came through. Sherry Covington came through. Yo, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Man, they don't know, man. Stop they tell you this person's you to be really good together. Do they listen to me? Do you hear my callbacks to my culture? Do you listen? Do you listen to the way I talk, man? Do you listen to the way I reference certain things in my content? Do I drop enough breadcrumbs so you realize what kind of brother I am? You know what I'm saying? At the root of it. I don't think I do, man, because evidently, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, you're supposed to be comfortable, man. I might as well go back to working as a contractor for the government. I got to start tiptoeing around a bunch of progressives. I ain't at work. I am the work. And they gonna get this work. They gonna get this work. Dre, they gonna get this work, son. Tonight's gonna be a good night, man. I hope you guys are ready for some outstanding coverage, some real talk, and some breaking news, and some from upfront news, right? Look, let's get into it, man. Let's not waste no time, man. Let me let people know what time it is. Go to TimBlackTV.com. TimBlackTV.com is my official website. No one uses those anymore. You find me on social media as Real Tim Black or Tim Black Show. That's where I am. You can find me there. Real Tim Black or Tim Black Show. Become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack by going to jointimblack.com. JoinTimBlack.com is where you go, or go to Patreon and look up Tim's Take Live. That's what the name of my first channel was. Tim's Take Live. God, I don't know if it was my first. It's been a while. Been over a decade. You guys ready for some content? I know I am, Johnson. I know I'm ready. Everything's good. The volume up good. Can they hear me, Black Mamba? Can the folks hear me? I hope they can. Get at them. I feel you, La La Chacha. Be a Patreon member. I welcome you, La La Chacha. Let's do this, man. We got let's do it while we're still young at heart. While we're still young at heart, fam. Let's get into it. Let's jump off to the Tim Black Show. Let's go. Way over here. Oh, hold on a second, Tim. You got to put your... Where's the thing here? Where's the... Bam, there it is. Yeah, I like Funky Friday better. I don't like Freaking Friday. I think I'm going to change that to Funky Friday. Funky Friday. Yeah, I think I'm going to modify that. All right, guys, let's get cracking.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
This intersection is always busy. It's always a lot of people out here, a lot of drug activity.
Just before 9:30 Thursday morning, Baltimore Fire and EMS responded to Pennsylvania and North Avenues for a drug overdose of one person. That quickly turned into a mass overdose of at least 15.
Along North Avenue, along Pensy, both subway platforms, and then kind of off the beaten path down some of the alleys.
If we have teams this way, if we could take some teams.
This mass overdose event brought out community partners, the Mayor's Office of Overdose Response, and concerned neighbors to help find more victims who took the laced drug. People tell WJZ the drug was given out as a tester to victims, and it was called New Jack City. Some say it was laced with Freon or antifreeze, which can poison people, although officials have not confirmed.
We don't know what's in the supply, and so for folks to be careful if they're using, to have Narcan available.
And that's one of the reasons that I'm out here trying to uplift the community and help those fight their addictions off.
As advocates handed out Narcan to those chasing their next fix, people like Crystal Drayton handed out information for people to get help. Throughout the day, victims started piling up outside the Enoch Pratt Free Library to get help.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Yeah, so this is a very serious thing that took place, man. Yesterday morning, 9:20 a.m., mass casualty event unfolded in West Baltimore that authorities treated as a potential criminal act. 27 people were hospitalized after what appears to be an intentional drug poisoning. At the time of my reports, when I was gathering information, it said that 5 people remain in critical condition, multiple others in serious condition, and this was not a typical overdose scenario. The tester distribution. So there's evidence of intentional poisoning. Witnesses report the deadly substance was deliberately distributed as testers to unsuspecting drug users. The poison's name is New Jack City, allegedly laced with Freon or antifreeze. That's right, people were injecting Freon or antifreeze into their bodies unknowingly. Obviously, they had no idea. This is designed to poison, not provide a high. So basically, they're trying to kill people, is what they're trying to do. The test was maybe to see if you'd survive. Maybe that was the test. Community advocates are calling it some kind of poison these people were given. The authorities have not yet confirmed the exact substance. Police are investigating who distributed the poison drugs, and no arrests were announced at this time. It was a level 1 mass casualty event. 13 ambulance units were deployed. Streets were blocked. Metro station temporarily closed down. I mean, this was a humongous deal, folks. And the only reason why it's not everywhere, being reported everywhere, because, well, these are drug users. So, but what I'm telling you is that I look at this like an attempted mass murder. That's how I see it. The first responders were working through the night. So we got a neighborhood under siege. The Penn North intersection is described as having a lot of drug activity and being always busy with vulnerable individuals. The incident highlights Baltimore's position as having the highest overdose population. The highest overdose fatality population of any major U.S. city, with nearly 6,000 overdose deaths over the past 6 years. Neighborhood stabilization response launched on Friday. Teams distribute Narcan, drug test strips. 4-block radius is being canvassed. They're trying to come up with who did this, what information they can get to find out who did it. They're trying to pursue that information. And the community has been told to use extreme caution. So they want to know who, obviously they want to catch whoever's involved, and the exact composition of the deadly substance hasn't been determined yet. They still don't know everything that was in this drug. I think it's pretty obvious it was a targeted attack. This appears to be a deliberate act of violence against some of Baltimore's most vulnerable citizens, residents. Someone distributed what witnesses described as poison drugs disguised as samples. So remember, these were samples. These were free. So you can't even really say these people purchased these drugs, because they didn't. I don't know how you classify that. I don't know how this is seen by Baltimore police. Well, if you have information about what took place, you got any information at all that could be helpful, call 1-866-1866-LOCK-UP. That's 1-866-LOCK-UP. And let's lock their asses up, Johnson. All right. And I tell you, fam. Dirty, 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 dirty. Let's keep going, Johnson. Let's get into it. I think I'm going to leave that there.
The final point I'll make is that they have a way of...
Okay, so my next segment, we got... I want us to take some time. This is Jasmine Crockett, Representative Jasmine Crockett. Disclaimer. I've invited Jasmine Crockett on the show. Her team did respond to tell us she doesn't have time. But she did respond. So that's something. She has a packed schedule. And no room for the likes of my puny, platform. It is what it is. But that doesn't stop me from covering her, because I would cover her regardless to what size platform I have or if she comes on or not. That's the beauty of having the First Amendment that they say we don't have. I could talk about any issue I want to talk about as long as I maintain, as long as I'm not attacking and not causing bodily harm or calling for the bodily harm of anyone. I guess I can talk about whatever I want. But you don't need permission to talk about you or your deeds or this clip we're about to play, Representative Crockett, but I would rather talk about it with you and do something that you don't do, that I've never seen you do. Actually have an interview with someone who's not a Democrat, and actually have an interview with someone who's not trying to garner favor with you or trying to be your friend and kiss your ass. This is not Current Hunter. And I think that's why you turned me down. And that's a disappointment because my people would love for you to convince them that you're not who I think you are. And if you convince them, that'd be great. I mean, you know, we reach a few people sometimes. Anyway, let's get on with it, guys. Let's do it.
With Tim Black.
The final point I'll make is that they have a way of making us believe in this scarcity mindset. So we have this thing where it's like, oh, if you send money over here, then I'm not getting the money that I need. So one of the things that it was easy for them to attack was USAID. Because they were like, oh, y'all sending all them millions over there, we could have the millions. Not recognizing that USAID is literally not even 1% of our budget. They want you to focus on pennies. It's a lot if it was in our bank account, for sure, right? But legitimately, they wanted you to focus on that and be distracted so you wouldn't ask questions about the other 99.5% of the budget, about the money that's going to Elon. Like people really got like confused, right? Elon and Trump started to tell some truth when they started to have a little beef, right? And all of a sudden, once they...
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
See, that's why I was stopping, because I'm not Jamal Bryant. It sounds a little bit like you're doing the same thing. We talk about one topic. You brought up USAID. You talk about how they wanted you to focus on USAID. It's a little bit of money. It's not significant. Look over here. And then you went and looked at Elon. Elon is nothing compared to our military-industrial complex money. But notice you went right to Elon. You're doing the same thing you're accusing them of doing, which is distracting away from other shit you could talk about and going to an area that they want to talk about. You did the exact same thing that you're accusing them of doing. You don't get that? Then why'd you bring up Elon Musk? Why come you couldn't bring up our military-industrial complex? Why not? We all know that's where the lines, like, well, I know for a fact that half of our budget goes to military spending. Why would you bring up Elon and leave all this area undiscussed? See, this is why you won't come on this show. I get it. If I was intent on using talking points, and if I was used to being lazy and having people serve me, don't even ask questions and let you talk and rattle and word salad and make up stuff and say crazy things and not make significant points, I probably wouldn't want to talk to somebody like me either who is not here to play games. You know, I get it. You know, when I used to watch people do this, I used to think it was hard. All you have to do is be very clear. And I used to think it was hard to be good at spotting this stuff. All I got to do is slow you down and ask questions and listen to what you say, and then keep you like, and just ask you what, huh? And like repeat back to you what you just said and say, why are we not talking about the thing I asked you? That's all it's easy. It's easy when you got nothing to remember. It's an old saying. I'm going to go back to the tape, guys. When you tell the truth, you ain't got to have a good memory. And when you tell the truth and when you're being honest and you ain't got nothing to prove, you ain't trying to lie, you ain't trying to slither, you ain't got to be a genius. All you got to do is be honest. So it's really easy to catch you, Jasmine Crockett, like right there I just did. You with all that schooling that your parents paid for ever since you was a little girl, all them thousands of dollars they were paying every year for you to go to school. I went to public school and I could catch you. And you're a lawyer. Not good at this. All right.
was beefing and all of like the truth was coming out because Trump was like, well, we could save some money if we just cut your contracts. I'm like, I've been saying it.
Weren't you saying let's cut the military industrial complex? I know you've been saying that, but you're saying it for political points. And even if you're right, why are we giving Elon Musk contracts? I don't know, he provides a service. Who would you rather give it to? Okay, but even if that's true, what the hell they got to do with USAID? Why should we be spending money on bullshit? Why should we? Make a case for why we should. Why should all these politicians be able to backdoor their way into our money for their science projects, for their padding the books? And what about the regime change bullshit we be doing in these other countries? What about all the other stuff that came out about USAID? How it's involved in toppling governments? How it's involved in funding things that many of us do not agree with? Let's keep going, man. I don't want to stay here all day because I got a feeling you're going to continue to say things that cause me to have to stop.
Like, just cut his contracts. Yes, I've been saying it. Like, we are overpaying. These contracts for defense, they decided to take defense spending up $1 trillion. They decided that every ICE agent should be entitled to at least a $42,000 bonus. While these fools are going out here dragging people and doing all this kind of stuff, and then they're going to tell
all this kind of stuff and doing all this kind of stuff. She's referring to one incident with one person. He was up here dragging. I really can't understand why people, I can't understand the Black Americans that support this. I just don't, man. Your politicians should be better than you. They should be smarter, more well-versed, have a better command of the topics and the issues. That's why they're there. That's what they should be better than you, not like you, not the same. They be doing all this stuff. What is that? What is that?
tell people, no, we're going to take your health care. No, we're going to take food away from you. No, we're going to take your housing vouchers away. And then people want to say, well, it's about the money y'all sending overseas, not understanding that one of the reasons people haven't been flying planes into buildings in the United States is because of our soft power, is because of the diplomacy that we were.
Did you listen to what she just said? One of the reasons they're not flying bombs into buildings is because of our soft power. How about we stop funding regime change in other countries? How about we do that? That soft power you're talking about is how we got into problems. By funding and meddling in other countries' governmental affairs. That's how it took place. Funding different rebel groups who then we don't want to fund and gave them guns and taking guns away and do this. We are involved. We have been involved in so much of the Middle East and Latin America that there's... I gotta pick my words a little bit more carefully than you, because I don't get to, I don't have the luxury of being a representative who can say dumb shit and not get censored. Let's just say America's activities abroad have been part of the issue, which has brought upon us many of the problems that we face internationally, that have brought things to our doorstep. It has not been our soft power that kept them away. Nothing's keeping them away. There are sleeper cells in our country right now as we speak. Right now as we speak, there are sleeper cells in this country. Looking at you, looking at Trump, looking at everything. All the time. That's going on, lady. Now she's making it seem like USAID is the reason why we haven't had another 9/11. Jesus Christ, man. This is not the kind of day I hope to have.
Doing where we were building relationships where people would look at us and say the Americans are good people, because when we spend money for, say, them to get medicine in their country,
that's not what's going on. She's just making up stuff. That's not it. That's not all we do. Everyone knows it. That's not what America's been doing. America just hasn't been saving the poor and helping the crippled children around the globe. Okay? That's not just what we've been doing. We've been picking winners and losers in other countries' governmental affairs and races, and we've been funding the toppling of this and the toppling of that. She is not being honest. She's not an honest actor. Either that or she's completely dense when it comes to international events. And I'm not even someone who delves into this to that degree, but I know that. The countries that we give medicines to don't have nuclear capability, goofy.
it don't cost what it costs here. It costs pennies. That was helping to keep us safe here. Don't let them play.
A lot of her friends, and there's a lot of organizations. For the record, and I'm gonna get off this, hope she changes the subject. For the record, the USAID organization funded a lot of non-governmental organizations that were run by former Democrats or connected to Democratic Party elites and the like. Those people would get contracts, large amounts of money set aside via USAID. Okay, and that enabled them to, live good lives and build nonprofit organizations. Did a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, when a large percentage of your operation or of your budget is spent on salaries, lounging or lodging and travel and all these other things, and when we start looking at where the money actually went, the bulk of the money did not go to help the crippled children, to fight cholera. That wasn't like the primary source of where the money was going, okay? So if that was the case, then that's what would be the front page news. Why was that not front page news? Because it wasn't the case. I'm not saying no good deed ever gets done, but the window dressing of, we're helping people, but what's going on back here that we can't see, that's what we started finding out about. And that's very inconvenient for the Democratic Party. That's why they're upset. That's why she's upset. That's why they're pissed. Because why are they pissed? They're pissed because their friends is making money. Somebody cut off the money faucet. That's all it was. It's sort of like the way Kamala Harris ran her campaign, which is giving hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars to her friends to do basically nothing. You paid Oprah money to interview you? And then Oprah puts advertising on the interview? She gets paid from the interview. Shermichael Singleton came on the show. I didn't have to pay Shermichael to come on. Why did Kamala Harris have to give Harpo Studios, a.k.a. Oprah Winfrey, $500,000 to talk to her, when they're going to also run the interview on the TV and make money off the revenue? Why would they have to do that? When Van Lathan came on the show, I didn't charge Van Lathan. Lathan didn't pay me to come here. I'll make my money on the back end off the ad revenue. Why would Roland need to be paid to have a conversation with Kamala Harris? This is soft money laundering. That's what it is. And that's what you're really advocating for. Money laundering. One hand scratching the back of another. And you know what? In Americans, we're pretty much used to politicians being creeps. But what is very insulting is when someone like you comes up here, tries to pretend to be talking in vernacular of regular folks just to try to shine us on, just to try to lead us astray and run us amok, as if we're not smart enough to see through this nonsense. We understand it's the hookup situation. We get that. Don't think everyone's that dumb they don't understand. We know how government contracts work. I worked in government contracting, guys, for 20 years. I know a lot about it. She's full of shit right now. And Jamal Bryant He ain't that dumb. He's got contracts. He's had contracts. He has companies. Let's keep going, man. I hope she doesn't talk anymore. I don't want to have to stop her to debunk it because this will be all that.
You don't let them divide you. I don't really care what you think about the LGBTQIA community. I don't really care what you think when it comes to abortion. I don't really care what you think when it comes to immigration. If you allow them to cherry pick you, then at the end of the day, something that you do care about, one of the freedoms that you do hold dear.
Here it goes. Here it goes, black people. Now, here we go. I told you, I've been covering this. For some reason, YouTube has not let my videos have the reach it's been having normally on these topics. With these Democrats, where they're trying to scare the black people. Here she is. She's about to try to scare black people. She said LGBTQ, then she said Latino. Now she's going to go to black people. Go ahead, Miss Crockett. Scare us.
Is going to be under attack. That's what happens. You get that people was like, oh yeah, kick them out. And then while they're going and kicking them out, the farmers is like, now wait a minute. I wanted you to kick certain people out, but now I'm going to lose my farm. Like, I'm telling you, our fates are interlinked. So of course I care about all the things that I just said, but I'm telling you that don't even try to convince people if they don't agree or what. It ain't about that. At least agree that you believe that you should be free in this country and recognize that they coming for you next.
There it is. That's right. They're coming for us next. So let me get this right. People that are undocumented, living in this country without their paperwork, who've been working pretty much off the book, shit like that. Those people having the law be adjudicated. Ain't no new laws. There's no new immigration laws. So exercising the laws that are currently on the books that say, if you're here illegally, we're going to detain you and deport you. Using the laws that are existing on the books, that's what's been happening. It's not to everyone. Not everybody. Not even every Latino. Not every Latino, not every African, no. To those people that are undocumented. Many of those who have overstayed their visas, those who, now they're going to come for us. You said they came for the LGBTQ. How'd they come for LGBTQ? I'm not sure. Oh, you mean trans in sports? That what you mean? Trans in sports? That's coming for them? Not letting them play? I don't think Miss Crockett, I think Miss Crockett needs her black card revoked. Yeah, I mean, they've been coming for black people since black people have been black people. Black Americans have been, the U.S. government has been coming for black Americans since black Americans have been black Americans. And I got this woman sitting up here telling us, well, you be careful now, because now they're going to come for you. I thought you got your first job. I thought you got your first job because you told them, I can relate to black people. And you're going to need me to talk to these black people they've been coming, because the U.S. government be coming for them. The state be coming for them, so I can help you by articulating to those people. Ain't that what you told me? You had this long speech about how that's how you got your first job. Not because you were amazing at what you did, but because you were a black woman and you could speak the language of the poor black people. Well, that implies that you understand that the government is coming for us. Now you hear 4 or 5 years later saying, be careful because they're going to come for you next. I thought they was already coming for us, Miss Crockett, and that's where the disconnection is. The disconnection is, folks, people like Jasmine Crockett are trying to scare us with this notion that we supposed to be feeling a certain kind of way about laws being implemented and laws being applied to undocumented folks. That's really what you're talking about. Ain't no new laws for LGBTQ. Maybe the military can't be in the military for trans or something. But she's using this talking point that now we in trouble. We've been in trouble. And that's where the problem is. Miss Crockett, you're lying. You're a liar. Roland's a liar. Tiffany Cross is a liar. You guys are lying. Black people, they never stop coming for us. Amanda Seals is a liar. They've never stopped coming for Black Americans. They never stopped coming for poor people either. Get it? Let's be clear here. You know what I'm saying? This idea that now folks, I say this in another video, but I'm going to say it and repeat it because you might not have watched everything I've ever put out. The reason why they're shoehorning Black people in with Latinos is not because they give a shit about us. It's because they want to focus on their new voter base. And that new voter base, and similar to Jasmine Crockett, where over half of her constituents are Hispanic Americans. That's really why she's talking the way she's talking. She's trying to stay in office. She want to get reelected. And this time she won't have Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto thief, fraudster that's in jail now who bankrolled her first campaign. He won't be able to bankroll the second one because he's in jail. So the Democratic Party they're trying to group us in with Latinos and say we have a shared fate. But nobody shares a fate with Black Americans. I don't remember you saying, but Latino people, you got to fight with Black people because if they don't get to sit on the front of the bus, neither do you. Black people, you got Latino people, you got Asian people, you got to fight with us, with Black people, because if they get discriminated, so do you. Like, it's coming for you next. America came for Black people, have never stopped coming for Black people. We need to reject Jasmine Crockett and those who talk like her. It's self-serving. They're trying to pretend that they care about Black Americans only because they want to focus on Latinos, and they don't want you to feel a certain kind of way because there's no focus on you. So now the only way to do it is they got to kind of try to do the people of color shit. And then when Black people say, "Well, hold on a second, I'm not an immigrant, and I'm not undocumented. My parents were from here. What are you talking about? Well, that don't matter. You next, cuz you ain't white." Where's that? Where'd you get that from? I just poured it out my ass to try to save the Democrats. That's the real answer. Now we know why you won't come on this show. What would be your response to that? One of us is advocating for Black Americans. One of us is telling the truth, and the other one just isn't. And that other one is you. Let's let her have the last word. Let's hope it's the last word, though.
That's it. It's very simple. So I'm just saying, make sure that you stay as united as possible and stop seeking perfection in your politicians, because you will be let down every single time. There is no perfection in your preachers nor your politicians. No offense.
Thank you.
No perfection.
How about not being corrupt and not being a liar? Can we get that? Can you not lie and not gaslight and not word salad us to death like you just did for the last 3 minutes? Can we get that, though? You ain't got to be perfect. How about just not be a liar and think people are stupid enough to buy that what you just shoveled? Which is 3 minutes of basically, Black people, you need to be afraid because you can get deported too. You know, Black people are fighting to have their farms. You know what they got also on farms now? They have machines that pick vegetables. Yeah, they got machines that pick vegetables. That's what they got. Yeah, not all farms rely on people picking fruit and vegetables by hand. You do know that, right? Okay. And a lot of the farms are subsidized to the point where they don't even really grow anything. They get paid not to grow. You know these things, right? Okay. Man. Long night, Johnson.
Even me, Lord.
Yeah, so stop
You said
seeking
even
it.
me.
Stop seeking it. You know how many times people wanted to talk about Kamala Harris and is she Black enough and all this other. It don't matter. How many Black women became president anyway? Y'all was okay when the other ones wasn't Black? Like just stop. Just stop.
No, how about you stop, man? That's not why her race became an issue. It became an issue because people like you said we need to vote for her because she was Black. And we said we don't need to vote for her and she ain't Black. And then y'all got mad that we said she wasn't Black. You were using her skin tone to say she was us, and she's not. You weren't even telling her to stand on policy. That's as dumb as when Hillary ran on, I'm with her and I got a uterus. And people are like, that's not enough to vote for you. That's why she lost. Y'all did the same thing, but the other way. You didn't run on the fact she was a woman. You ran on the fact she was black. And that just didn't work because her mama not black and her daddy is not a black American. He's Jamaican. And his mom, her mom is obviously Indian and Asian or something. That's obvious. Hence the garb, the Middle Eastern garb. So like it was you guys who made it an issue. Why can't we just couldn't run like a person? Why can't we just couldn't say, hey, I'm Kamala Harris. I'm the first Indian, Asian, Jamaican vice president. And I'm gonna do this for you, and I'm gonna do that for you. And this is how I'm gonna fix the country. This is how I'm gonna make the country better. These are things I'm gonna do. Instead of D.L. Hughley and Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey and Ricky Perry and whatever, all these goofballs out here to tell us how bad we were for not supporting a black woman. That's why it became an issue. And no one's stupid. You made it an issue. You're one of the people that went around. You the one that went around. You went around the country talking about she was black and dancing and shit. Who does that? Went around dancing, doing line dances and shit. This is embarrassing. And you're embarrassing. This is folks, this is disgusting. We shouldn't even have to have this. Why come you just can't run and just be good at your job? Why you have to say, vote for me because I'm black? How about vote for you because I was on this policy that helps blacks? How about that? How about the other way? How about you run on natural way you look because you got brown looking skin, which is all she has. And that time she was with Willie Brown. We actually have a comedian being one of your cheap surrogates making a point that we should support her because she was sleeping with a married black man to get her career started. And he talked about that as if that was good. And what does that say about the people that thought it was? Monique voice. It was bad. I was hoping to just like leave you alone and move on to other stuff. Because you're not ready. You just keep talking to Jamal Bryant and keep doing them soft interviews. You would get destroyed in a real debate because you got nothing but talking points and you try to make up your own reality. And you're really good when no one else can rebut you and you just get to talk with the mic and no one gets to say nothing and you get to make up your own reality. But those of us that know. We know the truth. We know the people that were making Kamala's race an issue are the people that wanted her to run on race. And those people were people like you, DL, and the other surrogates who were supporting her and boosting and putting out the information that she was a black American when she was anything but. Willie Brown's side piece notwithstanding. Oh, and she went to Howard. And now we find out we got Sharon Mandami who checked that he was black. It's probably the same reasons Kamala did when she went to Howard. To get free shit. All right, let's keep going, Johnson.
Because they allow you to play yourselves. They really do. They get in, and then all the while they got you critiquing her on whether or not she black enough, whether or not her agenda is black enough. Well, let me tell you, the one that we got is anti-black. That's all I do know, right? So I'm just saying.
Kamala Harris. Anybody feel like Kamala Harris' agenda was pro-black? I know when she was Attorney General, her policies were anti-black. We all know that, like we did coverage on it here. I covered her for several years, anti-black policies. The Attorney General, anti-black policies. It's very clear to say she wasn't going to do nothing for black people. I mean, what more? How more direct can you be? she just deliberately just right to the camera and laughed and said, I'm not going to do anything for black people that only helps black people. I'm not going to say that. Oh, man. Why do we have to go back through this? Why are you going on here, going on a rant and talking about things you in conversations and topics you can't win on at all? This is horrible. You will never become a contender in the Democratic Party by doing that shit. You're supposed to stay away. Like, hey, man, I don't mean no harm. I don't know who your people are, but when you get in a boxing match, it's important to not lean into every uppercut. Yeah, you shouldn't stick your chin out for every punch and catch it with your face. Some of them you should block, and if you can duck a couple, that'd be good too. You just up here making unforced errors. Why are you going back over a loser? That's because you're hurt. You're hurt. You didn't get power through her. That's why you brought this up. Because anybody asks you no damn question about Kamala, you bringing up Kamala because your feelings are hurt still. That you don't get to, to have access to power by being a surrogate of someone who becomes president. That's a big deal. And I know that's why DL is still in his feelings. His booty's still hurt. He's still uptight. He's still hurting right now that Kamala lost. But y'all need to get over that shit because she sucked. Y'all need to accept it and stop denying reality. She was a bad candidate. She was a bad candidate in 2020. She was a bad candidate in 2024. You bet on the wrong horse. And that's no one's fault but yours. All right, man, let's see if I think we're here. We're done here, Johnson.
Recognize that we will never give you 100% of what it is that you want. And that we are not asking you to be with us for life. We asking you, when I run, it's every 2 years. Just give me 2 years, okay? You can dump me after 2 years if you want to. When you're voting for...
Dump her. I agree with her. Dump her. Dump her, Texas. Texas, give her what she asked for. She just said it. You can dump her. Dump her. Please dump her. Let her get a YouTube channel. Let her get it. She loves talking. She loves being the focal point. She want to be a star model. She wants to be a legislator anyway. Can't y'all see that? That's what she good at. She good at talking in circles and not making any sense. She want to be an actress. She's too tall, too short to be a model, but she, or I don't know. I don't think she want to be a politician. She's not good at politicking. She's gonna be loud and playing a role and pretending to be somebody she's not. It's not good.
Our president is for 4 years. Most of y'all stay with y'all spouses and y'all don't agree with them all the time, so I don't even know why y'all tripping. I'm just saying.
Jasmine Crockett for president.
Jamal Bryant is an embarrassment to himself. Yeah, he's bad, man. I used to think Al Sharpton was about as dumb as they get, but Al Sharpton's actually pretty crafty. Jamal Bryant is blatantly not good at what he does. Like, he's superficial, and uninteresting in a creepy way. I don't know what it is, but hey, there are people that like him. I don't know why. Maybe he's a good pastor. I don't know. In the church, is he fun to watch? I don't know. But Jasmine for president. You're right. That it. Cut off.
Drops mic. That's it. 2028 is coming, y'all. Would you help me thank God for my sister? I am just glad for her life, for her assignment, for her heart, and for her spirit. You're watching the Jamal Bryant podcast. Let's be clear. I'm in the building with the first woman black president of the United States of America, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Next.
Well, look at that. He did get that part right. She would be the first black woman president. Sounds like maybe Is it possible that Kamala wouldn't come on the show? I don't know, it seems a little chippy there. Yeah, she's went on this whole thing about how you were wrong to say Kamala wasn't black enough. And then what does he do? He drops the thing and says, well, she could be the first black president. You know, there's talk that Kamala will run in 2028. She just, oh, that's interesting. A little bit of tea there, huh? Oh, Jamal. Oh, Jamal. Let's give anybody a congregation, don't they? I should start a congregation. Yeah, I should start a congregation. I could preach. I get up there, oh Lord Jesus. What are we dealing with here? Get from me, Satan. Oh Lord. I get up there and do some sanctifying. Woo. What's up, man? What can I get the like? Can some people hit the like button for me? Can we get some likes in the building, please? Can we get a few likes in the building, please? Tim Black's Wolfpack, how y'all doing, man? Y'all all right? That took longer than I expected. I didn't expect to spend that much time on that. God, I disagreed so much with what she said. Jesus, so disagreeable. I try to make the next segment a little bit faster, you know, because we still got to get to the Epstein stuff, and then I had to get through that. Did I hit the BS detector? Jamal can't really be pastoring, interviewing everyone except individual members of his church. They were all clapping, man. Yay, first president. Anthony says she really doesn't understand the black community. Not the working class black community. She wouldn't say some of the dumb things she says, man. I gotta agree, Anthony. Not working class blacks. She doesn't get it. Let's keep going, guys. I've been up here since honestly telling. Thank you, honestly telling. Katie, I would never start a church unless I can't imagine me doing that. I can't imagine that. I was just saying that Jamal Bryant, in my opinion, is a false prophet. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And it's a show. I feel like he's putting on a show. That's what I feel. You know? And I'm sure there are people that disagree with me. I think that he probably has some people, maybe a large amount of his people, feel differently about that, you know, or why would they be going to his church? So thank you, honestly telling. I appreciate you, sister. And with that, we will continue the show, Johnson. I don't want to get bogged down too much, man. My bad. What's next?
On deck with Tim Black.
So the executive directive that I will be signing in a few minutes is to help the city family, to help the city workforce, to help the city departments and all of the general managers essentially develop preparedness plans that have specific protocols and that help city workers know how to address immigration officials should they approach a city department. How we abide by the law, but we understand what our rights are as city employees, how we can provide protection for immigrants who might be attending a city event or at a city property, but we stay within the law. That we make sure that people that work with city contractors ensure that they are safe on city property. So you might have heard that a few days ago, there were city contractors who were working and ICE rolled up on them and asked for ID and was inappropriate. And so even people that contract with the city, we want them to understand what their rights are. We want each department to have an immigration affairs liaison. And we want each department that if they encounter any federal officials, that they contact the city, especially the mayor's office, right away, so that we can, number one, make account of this, but also make sure that all the city departments and city workers are informed on how to deal with this. We also want to disseminate information on city services and assistance programs for families that are impacted by federal enforcement actions. And we are submitting a FOIA, a Freedom of Information Act request, regarding the dates and locations of all enforcement activities in Los Angeles. I think you've heard me repeat every time I speak before you that when people are taken from our city, we do not necessarily know where they are going. They are not provided regular access to families or to legal counsel, and that the family members that are left behind don't know whether their family members are in the city, in the state, or even in the country. And we also know that when these raids have been happening, it's not just people who are undocumented, but people who are in the country legally, people who are showing.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Okay, so two things, man. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest. If a person who's a U.S. citizen gets detained beyond a reasonable amount of time, because any of us can get detained by cops at any time. Right now, you can walk out your house and they could be like, you look like somebody, and they could take you into custody. Okay, if you don't have your ID on you, they can take you into custody. Happens every day to people of all colors, shapes, sizes, right? Anybody can be picked up at any time. Police officer thinks they're doing their job. They're looking for somebody. You look like you match to, you fit. Black people, we know this. You fit the description is the famous words, okay? My thing is this. There's a certain amount of time you get where it was reasonable. Okay, so yeah, took me down. Yeah, found out it's not me. So anybody kept beyond that period of time should sue the shit out of the federal government if you are a U.S. citizen and they keep you beyond a reasonable amount of time. I've had cops mistake me for other people. I'm black. I'm a man. It's happened more than once. They detained me. I'm pissed. Yeah, you know, this lady acts like this doesn't happen to other people. Happens all the time. But you know what we don't have? You know what I didn't have access to? A bunch of politicians trying to prevent that or spending money in a budget to educate me on what my rights were when that shit happens. I wonder what that is. I thought Maryland loved me. That's like only Democrats spend money on this when it comes to Latinos. What about everybody else? What about me? But anyway, so before the record, guys, if you are a U.S. citizen in anything, if you're a U.S. citizen, I got your back. If you're a U.S. citizen and they pick you up and apprehend you, detain you, which is legal. I didn't say beat you up. I didn't say break your arm. I didn't say manhandle you. I didn't say abuse you. I didn't say none of that. I didn't say deport you. They pick you up. They detain you. You're a U.S. citizen and it's over. There's got to be something on the books about how long someone can be detained that's reasonable. Okay. Because I've seen people cry like a baby getting questioned to see who they were, to see their ID. And it was a whole big scene about seeing an ID. And then we all know when those cases happen, typically you get arrested. We've seen it happen to people all the time refuse to give their ID up. It's not a Latino or an undocumented person thing. A lot of people feel like they're feeling like their privacy's been invaded. Why I gotta tell you who I am? Why I gotta give you my ID? Like, we hear this all the time. But for the record, I just want to be clear, guys. Anybody who has their rights violated, they should be able to sue. And if you're a U.S. citizen, you are able to sue. That's why I question some of the things she's saying. Because anybody, if you deport U.S. citizens, you have a case. Now, if you're a U.S. citizen and you don't speak English, I'm kind of wondering, like, Why did they not believe you were who you said you were? Why don't you have an ID? I'm wondering these things. I'm wondering how honest Miss Bass is being. But once again, I just want to be clear, man. I'm not a nut job. I'm not callous where if you're a U.S. citizen, you're a U.S. citizen. And you should be treated as a U.S. citizen. It doesn't mean you should be treated great. We don't get treated great. Latinos don't get great treatment because they're Latinos. Undocumented people don't get great treatment. Black people don't get, nobody gets great treatment in the U.S. That's what makes us all the same. Well, you know what I'm saying? The base level, right? But we all can seek recourse. Okay? So seek recourse if that's the case. You seek recourse. And the 10 Black Wolfpack's got your back if you have had your rights violated. But I support undocumented people being detained and deported. I support that because I'm advocating for Black Americans who don't need to compete against undocumented people for jobs and work. That makes sense? Fine. Just like you don't want people in your neighborhood slinging unsolicited, unregistered weapons. We differ. You think it's fine if the gates open and the entire country comes here to your neighborhood. Fine. And that your son and your kids, your cousins, your neighbors can't find. You're fine with that. Fine. I'm not fine with that. That's my right. But she said so much here. But the other thing I want to say is, obviously Los Angeles is a place for the Latinos, not for anybody else. You effectively threw all the Black people out of Los Angeles anyway. Like, I've been hearing stories that basically you priced Black people out of Los Angeles and replaced them with Latinos years ago. I hear that MacArthur Park that you were so upset that the feds or that Department of Humans, DHS came there, Homeland Security, that they came there, that Black people aren't even allowed in that park anymore. There's so much gang activity there, and it's not a place for Blacks. It's a Latino, it's MS-13 owns that park. You didn't know that MS-13 and the 18th Street gang owns MacArthur Park? That Black people can't even go to that park? How are you going to have a park that you're complaining about ICE coming to where Black people can't even come to? That don't make no damn sense. There's a lot of racism in Los Angeles. Obviously, there's a lot of favoritism. Large amounts of favoritism in Los Angeles. Hence the budget she just described, of spending extra money to alert undocumented people that they don't need to be showing ID. And know your rights. All right, folks. What a night, Johnson. What a night.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
If you ever want to know, understand the problem we have with younger men, listen to NPR for 5 minutes, 4 times a day, and you will understand. I single him out. There are plenty of other people. So they were told the future is female. You must always believe the woman is never wrong. Hashtag me too. All right. Tara Reid. All right. And men are like, shit, do I count? What about my life? I mean, we're only 48% of the voting population. And every time you would see an election, it's all coming down to suburban women, James. This is going to be, it's an uprising, or it's going to come up women of color forming the basis of this. And if you just get this repeatedly over a period of time, and so you as I tell people, so let's say you work in an Atlanta tire shop. 9-10 hours a day, you're changing tires, you pick out car up, you're working the ass off. It's hot. Okay. You go home. You want a cold beer. You want a hamburger and you want to watch the football game. No, you can't do that. Not football. No, hamburgers. How many calories that has? Do you know what that does? Beer? No. You should be drinking a nice fruit spritzer or something. They're like, oh, get off of my back. Right? And then if you have sex, you must wear a condom. And yeah, I mean, we just never communicated with him.
So how do we fix that?
By just talking like people. All right? And just like using language that other people use. And quit sticking your finger in everybody's face about personal behavior. And we just come across that way. And there's no, you gotta, it used to be, and I understand we've had tectonic societal shifts, demographic shifts in this country, but there are no television shows about these people anymore. There's no, they've been erased from the culture. Just taken 48, particularly, 48% of the population, males, which are, I don't know, 68 and have 30% of the total population, maybe 31. We've just erased them. You don't exist. No one sees you. No one cares about you. You've had it made all your life. And a lot of these people say, I got it made. What are you talking about? And we just lecture people too much. And as opposed to saying, man, you work hard, you look at male wage, and look at male wages compared to growth. I understand males don't make more than females, so shut up and don't bother me with that. But look how much the gap is closing. And what we do know is loss of status really irks people. Now, if you have $110,000 in the bank, you do, and I got 90. Okay, but if we both started with 100 and I lost 10 and you made 10, we have an entirely bigger range of feelings about the way that we feel. And we haven't shown the Democrats. I think Harris was like trying with Waltz. I got to give her some credit because he did scream he was masculine. It wasn't enough to overcome everything else, but we do have a male problem, and a lot of it is urban culture. It really is. And when I say urban left wing.
Next on deck with Tim.
Yo, hold on a second here, Johnson. Hold on a second. He said some things that made sense and some things that were just batshit crazy. That's what he did here. But I always like Carville because he's always going to give you some content. Thank you, Carville, for creating the content. First of all, I can't stand it. I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to give credit about the people with the sayings. The future is women, or the future is LGBTQ, or the future is these things are dumb. Okay? The present, the past, and the future of the United States is corporate. That's what it is. It's corporations. It's the wealthy. That's what it is. That's what it's always going to be. You can live in La La Land and be on some BS if you want to. That's what it is. All right? So, but his argument is, and I see, like, I just got through roasting Mark Lamont Chill about this. He had a shirt on, the future is black. In what world? I guess he's talking about black Americans because he didn't stipulate. But nah, the future in America is not black America. That's what I want. You would think we would want the same things. It's the fight to, limit this immigration. Fight to limit the things that are taking away resources out of our communities. We're at the bottom, and you're willy-nilly just supporting more people coming in the country to take resources from the one group that has the least amount of resources. And you're not on board with me on that. So you ain't that smart the way my coach says you're so smart. That's why y'all call you a shield. You know what I'm talking about. I've articulated that point well enough for you to get it. But the people with the future is black and it's a feminist. Yeah, I had a problem with that shit because if you say someone's black, you're already talking about women and men. Black is us, is who we are. Our women are black and we are black. We are black people. Black Americans are black. You don't need to say feminist. We don't need the dividing line between black women and black women. We don't need that. So that was a dumb shirt to wear. So I agree with James Carville on this weird lefty BS. The future is this, the future is that. How about the future is, let's not go extinct on some bullshit. The future is 99%. How about it being that? I could get behind that because that includes all of us. And we just looking at the rich mofos. Yeah, how about we do that? Then we ain't got to be splitting up the women and the men and all that stuff. So then Carville goes on to talk about white guys. It's really his grievances is the Democratic Party cannot maintain white male voters. They can't get white guys, right? He said, he makes a scenario, guy comes home, he works a hard job, fixing cars, whatever, it's hot. He's working his ass off. He comes home, he just wants a beer, wants a burger, he wants to watch the football game, and these are the types of things Bill Burr used to talk about back when he was Bill Burr. I don't know what he is now. He's got a progressive black wife, and now he's not Bill Burr of old. We miss you, Bill. You used to tell the truth. But yeah, okay, so yeah, regardless of what color you are, you want to come home, you want to have a beer, you want to watch the game, fine. They're telling you that you shouldn't be able to watch the game. The game is violent. Game is violent. You know, I've always known black women who was cool with the game. Ain't no problem with the game. Wifey, get the beer out the fridge. I got you pick you some beer out. So I don't have these problems. Though I do try to limit the beer now, but it's not because of her, it's because of me. So I get what he's saying. I get the point. And if you have people that are having a problem in their homes, like I get it. He's talking about a mentality where they're trying to control your freaking life. They're saying you're not a good person if you watch the game or if you eat a burger or if you drink a beer. Mind your business and just fix the country. Next. One part I really disagree with was two parts. One part was, he said Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, they tried to fix this. Tim Walz, he said he was masculine. So he was trying to fix the problem that the Democrats have with masculinity. Here goes, something to consider here, Carville. A masculine man never has to say I'm masculine. Samuel Jackson ain't never had to go up to nobody and be like, look, I'm a masculine. Denzel Washington ain't never had to say, I'm masculine. Right? Name a white guy who is masculine and then picture them saying, I am masculine. In fact, I would say it is the opposite of masculine. It is effeminate to say I'm masculine. To even have to say that. You should never have to say that. Pusha T don't have to say that. Kendrick Lamar don't have to say, I'm masculine. And I'm just using them because I talked about Pusha T's new album, him and the Clips new album at the start of the show. So I'm doing a callback. That's called callback in the biz. Diet Coke, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, you get the point. All right. Oh, another thing, I got to call this out. Carville, you made a comment about guys having to wear condoms. That's not anything wrong with that. Yeah, you should do that. That's self-survival. That's called survival instincts right there. That's not liberal. That's not progressive. That's not save the whales and save a tree. That's save your tree. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, interesting segment, Carville. Keep your head up. Good luck with the party. Next.
Black. Next on deck with Tim Black.
But the assertion here is that there's racial profiling going on in these rates.
Of course there is. It's very much akin to, I'll tell you what frightens me is we've had this before in our history. In the Jim Crow South, when you had young black men being disappeared off the streets. I mean, there is a very real type of terror that is being perpetrated against black and brown people in this.
All right, guys. I got all types of problems with this. I just do, man. I can't let this go on. Come on, Johnson. When black people were being picked up in the South in the 30s, 40s, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, and never being seen again, they weren't being deported. They were being exterminated. When they dragged the Tallahatchie River back in 1954, I think it was, they found young Emmett Till, they found other black boys there who were never seen again. The fact that the Democrats are kind of alluding, that's the same thing that's happening when you know damn well these people are being sent to detention centers where they're awaiting trial for their asylum cases. We covered that yesterday. And they will, if 9/10 of them are denied asylum and they are sent packing. They are sent out of the country. We know that. We know that. Okay? Why you want to compare that to what happened to black people and what has happened to black people is beyond me. I don't know why you would walk into this shit. And Abby Irish is not a black American. I don't know where her people from, but she does not relate to us. And she don't got anything to say at all. And there's no one black on that panel to speak up. I wish I was there. But for the same reason Jasmine Crockett won't come here, I will never hear from Abby Phillip. We've reached out. I'm not the type of black they want to bring on the show. I'm not of the ilk. But yeah, I just want to point that out. This is an insult to black Americans. You know what I'm saying? To compare people that are undocumented for being picked up by a police organization. These weren't cops picking up black people. Maybe they were, because the cops have always, cops historically have been part of the race traders. Like, they used to go slave catching and catch blacks and bring us back to the plantation. They weren't taking us and deporting us. We were trying to deport ourselves. They were capturing us from trying to get away, and they were bringing us back. So I don't even get the analogy. All you're trying to do is somehow include black people in the conversation to get some of that good old black currency. Gotta use some of that black pain to make your point. Because it don't really hit. That we got people in this country for mostly 90% of the people that come to this country from other countries are just coming here to make a couple of dollars. They're not coming here because their country's in peril. They're not coming here because they're being chased by hounds, or gangs want to chop them into little pieces, or there's been a flood, a typhoon, or an earthquake in their country, or that there's been a regime change, or there's an open war going on, right? The typical temporary permanent status conditions that are necessary in order to maintain that status. That's why they get sent packing. We don't just let everyone come here just because they say look, we have a process. You seek asylum, but if you do not meet asylum conditions, see ya. And that's every country. They all have criteria for asylum. This notion that America's batty, that America is horrible, that it's racist to have criteria for asylum is bonkers, yo. Look up Poland. Look up Germany. Look up Switzerland. Look up Australia. I did. They all have conditions that are more strict than us. We're not the only country that has conditions to give you asylum. There's a young African who just saved someone's life in France. You see this? This is the second time I see this. An African saves a life in France. It's a burning building. He comes out the window and saves 4 or 5 lives. The last time an African did something like that, they made him an honorary Frenchman. Because he was not before. You don't just become French because you go to France. Get it? Macron said this person's done this great historic thing. Let's make them an honorary citizen. Because you don't just get it just because you want to make a couple dollars working on computers in America. That's not how the shit work. Okay, so let me just end it here. Fitty, you look like you got something going on with you. I don't know if you black or you got a trace of black or a speck of black in your blood, but to you to shoehorn in black people being snatched up and lynched, comparing that to people who are undocumented being detained in detention centers, processed, going to court to see if they get status to stay or leave, and if not, bye. Comparing that to black people being disappeared and lynched. And then you wonder why Tim Black gets upset. Then people wonder why I'm upset. Then I'm the bad guy for pointing out obvious hypocrisy. All right, Jonathan, let's keep going, man. It's like I can't get away from this topic because they keep all saying the same talking points. They all keep the same talking points.
Country who are being profiled, who are being targeted. And I think John raises a very important point, which is if you really want to stop it, then you go after the employers and you make sure that they don't hold the jobs open. And you make those employers, whether that is a meatpacking, whether that is in farms, whether that is in the Central Valley of California, you pay people a living wage, you give them health care benefits, you treat them like human beings, you create real jobs rather than, we went from one unpaid labor force to another very low paid labor force. And this country has worked that way for centuries. And if we really wanted to stop it, we would go after the employers.
A coach for youth baseball in Manhattan.
Hey, look, guys, I want you to know I agree with her statement. I agree with her point of view here on this. Get her back on the screen. I agree with her here. This is good. This is solid, okay? The last part, not the first part was horrible. Oh, God, phew, yuck, get that out of here. But the second part, if you really want to stop it, you go after the employers. I agree with that 100%. We got to do that. People that push back and say, Tim, we need to do that part. We need to go after the employers. What about the employers? I agree with you. I agree. We should go after the employers. Hence, if we go after the employers, maybe we stop this. Look, there's not a lot of activity at our border anymore because they know that we don't play now because we don't have Biden in office. So 95% of the traffic at the border is stopped. Our problem now is internally, not externally, right? It's not people crossing the border anymore. They got the message. Now, if the employers crack down, I get your point, then people be like, I can't get a job, ain't no reason to be here. And all of a sudden they self-deport because they only here to make money. They're not here to become people of color and help the blacks with these talking points Democrats come up with. We need to all band together. Latinos be like, band together? What? I'm not here for that. I come from Guatemala to make money here. That's it. I come from Chile. I come from Guatemala. I come from, Filipino. I'm Filipino. I come from, I'm Chinese. I'm Chinese. I make money. They're here to make money, not become part of the swirl, the people of color swirl. But I agree with you that if you want a big part of helping stop this would be crack down on the corporations. Lock up the corporations. Lock up the CEOs. That'll get them. Yeah, Trump, you want to make a dent? Start locking up some of these CEOs. I think we need to start putting more pressure on Trump. Yes, put pressure on Trump. I agree 200%, man, and I know that sounds impossible. Mathematically, that's impossible, but if it was possible, I would agree 200%. All right? That's where I stand on that. So I like her second part, first part, get it out of here. Not in my house. But the second part, you go, girl.
Go after the employers and you make sure that they don't hold the jobs open. And
That's it, man. I love this. I love when she said that. That's very good, Johnson. Now, let me do this. And I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it because it's important for people to know. And I hope it's okay to use this clip. Sometimes use local news and they try to get their views. They don't want you to use their content. They don't look at it like you're helping them. They look at it like you're stealing. I'm not trying to steal. It's a good story. It's an important story. Okay. I got to show my human side.
A coach for youth baseball in Manhattan says a group of ICE agents approached members of his team while they were practicing in Riverside Park. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon with the story from the Upper West Side.
The batting cages here in Riverside Park have been a little quieter in the last week. Harlem Baseball Hitting Academy founder Yeoman Wilder was coaching middle and high school students there on July 3rd when he says 6 ICE officers walked through the park past the basketball courts.
But I didn't really think too much about it. I just think, okay, they're ICE officers, because I'd seen them in Washington Heights before.
But then he says they approached the kids and started asking questions.
Where they're from, who are their parents, and I just thought, whoa, this is not good.
Wilder has a master's degree in law and told them they didn't need to answer those questions.
I told my kids to walk to the back of the cages, right here, and I said they're going to invoke their Fifth Amendment rights. They're not going to say anything.
He says one of the officers raised his voice.
That's when I was called a YouTube lawyer, and I said no, I just know how the Constitution works.
And all of the kids, he says, are American citizens.
Their parents are, from the Dominican Republic, South America, Mexican, Africa, but they're kids who are born here. They have a 14th Amendment entitlement to live here.
We've reached out to Homeland Security to verify that ICE officers were here, but have yet to get a response. Wilder says they were armed, in uniform, with clearly labeled vests.
They look like the real thing to me. From what I've seen in Washington Heights, what I saw that day.
And he's reached out to local elected officials, like Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal, who says he was right to advise the kids.
No one has the right to take you away or to get any of your information.
I never in my life thought this was going to happen on the Upper West Side in New York City. That whole thing, until it happens to you, you're not aware, and it happened to us.
Since the incident last week, the coach says he changed their practice time, but the kids and their parents are so worried that only 2 of them have been back. On the Upper West Side, Sonia Rincon.
Okay, so this is a bad story. I don't like it. It bothers me because the kids, really? Is there a bounty? Is there a bounty going on where if you get people, you get paid? Is there a bonus going on for the ICE people that they get money? Is there a cash incentive? The more people they bring in, they get a bounty. It's like, like it is with us. It's a bounty. Actually, it's a requirement to keep your job. You got to give out a certain amount of tickets. Are people waking up to the fact that our policing is pretty much done that way? You didn't know that that's what happens? Like, you get pulled over a lot of times because they got a quota they got to meet as far as pullovers. I had a Baltimore police officer on this channel. We did a segment. We got like a 5-part segment about policing. One of the problems we had with policing, he was a former officer, was part of the quota system. So I'm just wondering if there's a quota system attached to detainments. Sounds like it is. That's what it sounds like. But I do not like you questioning children. But I got to ask this, Johnson. And this is the part that's still a little murky for me, right? It's because they're kids that I got a problem. Because if you were asking adults, hey, who you with? That happens all the time. Like, there's nothing new about that. It's nothing new about Americans being asked, you know, if you look suspicious or they think anything. Like, in this case, it's they think you might be undocumented or your family's undocumented. But if they thought you might be selling drugs or they thought you might be in a stolen car, they thought anything about you, we all face this. I mean, Black Americans, we face the same scrutiny. It's not cut and dry because we know what that's like. We know what's going on. And I'm just tired, Johnson. I've been doing this show for 14 years or so, man, and I'm just tired of saying the same shit. And nobody cares. Maybe now your kid is happening to you. Maybe now America will care now that the same practices that have plagued us as long as I've been doing this show, as long as I've been on this earth, now that's happening to another group that's a little lighter in melanin, right? Maybe now you give a damn. You know, maybe now people are seeing like, oh, maybe this is not the right way to do it. Because when it happened to us, we were complaining, you're a victim, you know, there's a bunch of other shit. Okay? Not really taking that seriously. So that's part of my struggle here. The other thing is, you're talking about kids, though. So kids should be off limits. If you can't catch the parents on your own, leave the kids alone. And when you want a child turning in their dad? You think a child, are you serious, you piece of garbage? You want a kid to turn in their mother to you? That's what you want? For what? So you can make an extra $2,000 or whatever, I don't know what it is. That's what you think? You're a scumbag for that. That child would have to live with that forever. Get them on your own. If you get them on your own. So that bothers me, man. I don't like that. I do not like that. Say, Tim, well, that's happening all over the country. Yeah, but you know what's also happening all over the country? A lot of that's not happening all over the country either. Okay? I just told you, I reported on this yesterday. Trump is averaging 14,000 deportations a month since February. Obama was averaging 36,000. Whoa. Okay, so calm down a little bit. Calm down. I know you don't know that. You didn't know that. Those numbers are right there, baby. Yeah, Tim Black did his work. And see, they won't tell you that on CNN or MSNBC or CBS or ABC or NPR. They won't tell you that. That Obama was doing nearly 3 times more damage to your feelings. And you didn't know about it. And it wasn't as focused as stories. They weren't focusing on it. And they weren't calling them Hitler. And they weren't trying to burn down the country. And ICE wasn't getting shot at. Okay? Not saying you shouldn't be upset about it. I'm just saying. I just thought I'd throw that in there because that's context for what's going on. People are talking as if this is the end of days. Somehow America survived Obama, who was in office for 8 years. Now, he tapered off. Eventually, he got a little heat from some leftist organizations, and he started toning it down, and he introduced DACA to try to make up for it. That's where that came from, you know? It was him trying not to stink it up totally for the Democrats. That's why he did it. It didn't work, and that's part of the reason why you got Trump in 2016. The more you know. All right, guys. Yeah. Let's keep it moving, man. We're doing well. We're doing well. Doing well. Now is where I remind you that the Tim Black Show is brought to you by you. Yeah, I need folks to hit the like button to help the algorithm. Look, we need the algorithm to work with us here, folks, because without you, man, this algorithm Phew, it does not work with us. Okay. So hit the like button. Let the algorithm know this is a good show. It's worthwhile. Second, share it. Tell a friend. We're approaching 200,000 subscribers. Yeah, I know, right? I don't know when we're going to hit it. Could be right now if you all sign up right now. Do we have 50 people watching that aren't subscribers? Could we hit it tonight? Could we hit 50? If we got 50 more subscribers, I'm sorry. If we got 42 more subscribers, we'd hit the 200,000 mark tonight. And it would be great. We could do it right here live. All we need is 42 more people. We hit the 200,000 mark right here live in front of... Whatever that happens, soon after, I'm going to have a special show. And for my members of the Tim Black Wolfpack, free stuff. And I'm happy, overjoyed. I'm looking forward to giving out free shit because I got stuff, man. I got mugs, I got stickers, I got buttons, I got all this swag over here, you know, that I love to give out to my people. So anyway, that's important. So I want to let you know we got free giveaways that's going to go down on this show. Become a member of the Tim Black Show. Become a VIP or a Wolfpack member. Go to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live, or go to jointimblack.com. Become a member of the show. I'm not funded by the Democrats or Republicans. Okay, so this is independent media. What we don't fund goes away. If we ain't funding it, them people will. And that's one of the things, man. It's like, how can I say this, man? People complain about what we don't have, but they don't fund what we do have. So fund this show. And if you don't fund this show, fund somebody else's show that brings quality. If you think this show is quality and informative or whatever, you enjoy it, whatever, fine. Don't do it just because I'm black. Don't do it just because I said something. Do it because you get enjoyment and it provides you something. And if I do that, that's the bar. That's the deal. All right, let's keep going, Johnson. Let's keep going, man. All right, second part of the show. Epstein. Let's get to the Epstein part of the show. Should we do Epstein? Well, actually, I want to end on the Epstein note. Let's end on Epstein note. I have one other segment I want to do before I do Epstein. And it's an important segment. This will be important. Here we go. So while I was on Twitter, I was getting prepared to do this show tonight. I ran across a tweet or an X post from a friend of the show, the Actify Press, which was, or which is, I don't know if they still do it. Hope they still do it. It's called Reset Race. One of the members of Actify Press sent out this tweet. And in this tweet, there was a picture. Check this out. It was an image. Check this out.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
And it included this. Here it is. And it has a picture of Uncle Sam. And he's cutting a cake called the U.S. government. And and here we have the pictures of a Native American, an Asian American, and a Latino American. And you can see all three of them have a slice of the U.S. government cake. Now, it's kind of crazy because the cake doesn't look like it has many cuts out of it. So it's that. So don't, you know, that's crazy. I didn't make the image. I just saw it and said, I got to use it. But as you can see, you got the poor white kid. I'm sorry, the poor black kid with white gloves. He's like got sprinkles on his gloves. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so Uncle Sam's cutting another slice. It looks like a really small slice. I don't know who gets that. But Uncle Sam is smiling and looking at the kid. And notice the other people are not even looking at the little black kid, little black American kid. He's not Congolese. He's not Nigerian. I think he's black American. Yeah, it's a disturbing picture, right? Well, see, that picture that you see there, that's how black Americans feel about America. And that's how black Americans feel about this whole people of color thing. The POC. Yeah, that's how we feel about it. And that's how we feel about what America has done for other groups. And I said, well, you know what? I want to put some meat on the bone. I want to do some data on this, right? I want to give some support to my claims. Because it's one thing to put out a meme. It's another thing to put out some data. So let me do this. Native Americans. Let's go around the room. They had this thing called the Indian Health Service. It was established to provide comprehensive health care to approximately 2.5 million Native Americans. The IHS operates with a budget of $6.3 billion in 2025. Yeah, this is a current program. It offers services like hospitals and clinics on or near reservations. This reflects a targeted federal commitment to health equity for Native Americans. You know what I haven't heard? I haven't heard anybody say this was unconstitutional or that they're being victims. They're being victims. No, that's just for us, not for Native Americans. They're also the tribal gaming revenue. Since the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act of 1988, tribal gaming has generated nearly $30 billion annually by 2015. It funds education, healthcare, and infrastructure for many of the 574 federally recognized tribes, enhancing economic self-sufficiency. Then there's the Land and Trust Management. The Bureau of Indian Affairs manages 55.7 million acres of trust land, supporting tribal sovereignty and resource access, a policy unique to Native Americans. That's where their slice of pie you see in their hand. That's what that's about, because they literally have a slice. What's cake? They literally have a slice of cake. Looks like carrot cake. Yeah. Let's go to our Asian Americans. Immigration and Naturalization Act of 65. This policy ended restrictive quotas, leading to a significant increase in Asian immigration. It went from 10 million in 2000 to nearly 19 million in 2019. Opening economic and educational opportunities, it disproportionately benefited Asian communities compared to others due to prior exclusionary laws, like the Chinese Exclusion Act. They get language assistance in voting. The Voting Rights Act language provisions, enhanced post-1992, boosted Asian American voter registration, 20 to 40% increases in some California counties, aiding political participation and representation. COVID-19 response funding. The Biden-Harris administration allocated resources in 2021 to combat Asian violence. Anti-Asian violence. You know that thing that Roland said they didn't do? Yeah, they did everything. Roland's a liar. It includes data collection improvements, indirectly supporting community safety and inclusion. Some people did say something about that one COVID-19 response funding, but not that big a deal. No one said, oh God, these people are just victims, perpetual victims. Well, anyway, that's how the Asian folks ended up with their slice of the cake that you see pictured in the video or the picture. Latino Americans. My favorite. The Affordable Care Act provisions. Since 2010, the ACA expanded Medicaid, reducing the uninsured among Latinos from 30% in 2010 to 18% in 2022. A significant gain compared to Black Americans. Right. DACA in 2012, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, protected about 800,000 young, undocumented immigrants, mostly Latino, from deportation, providing work permits, access to education, a policy not extended to other groups in the same form. Then they got the farm worker programs. The H-2A visa program and related agricultural support have historically aided Latino workers with over 200,000 visas annually, as every year, supporting economic stability in Latino communities. Because you guys know my stat. Since 1950, Black Americans have 40% of Black Americans have owned their own homes since 1950. Fast forward, the new study in 2020 showed we're still at 40%. Meanwhile, Latino Americans are at 50%. And white Americans are still upwards of 70% above. So let's talk about Black Americans and why, in this image, maybe, I didn't make the image, but maybe why the Black kid has crumbs. Well, that's because, for instance, healthcare. The IHS budget contrasts the Medicaid expansion under ACA, where Black Americans saw a reduction in uninsured rates from 2019 to 2010. In 22, however, no equivalent dedicated health service exists for Black Americans. We have no specific health service like the Native Americans got. Economic programs. The tribal gaming and DACA provided targeted economic boost absent for Black Americans who rely more on general welfare, like TANF, with 27% of recipients being Black in 2022, without specific industry or immigration relief. Then we got land and sovereignty. We all know that, you know. Native Americans trust land, tribal sovereignty, have no parallel for Black Americans who face land loss. So they gave Native Americans land and they took ours, and they gave them theirs, but you took ours. Did I say that? The government took our land away. We lost land, they gained land. Well, some would say they lost all their land because they were here first, but you get my point, right? You know, because never got the 40 acres and the mule. You know what I'm saying? Okay. The wealth gap. Median wealth gap for Black households was 24,000 in 2020 compared to 188,000 for white households, with no specific federal wealth building policy matching the scale of tribal land or immigration-driven opportunities for other groups. Yeah. They're not even trying to have us catch up to white folks. So the data shows that Native Americans, to sum it up, the data shows that Native Americans, Asian Americans, and Latino Americans have benefited from targeted federal programs addressing health, economic development, and immigration, often with dedicated funding or legal frameworks. Black Americans, they have seen broader programs, broader safety nets, initiatives, like, you know, Civil Rights Act of 64, but they lack equivalent group-specific initiatives. We don't get our own initiatives. We get a little piece of the whole thing. They get their own slice. We get a little piece of the whole thing. And then when white people, most of the bigoted people, mostly the people that are, you know, think Black people, who don't know Black people don't get shit, they think Black people got stuff. They say, oh, it's because the Black people get everything. Those people are just ignorant. They don't know anything. Especially when you got Fox and good old Bill O'Reilly for years, Rush Limbaugh for years, telling the whole world how much black people get. Leaving out the real groups that got free shit, who got things set aside. We didn't get set aside. You're talking about we're 27% of food stamps. I'll take some land over some food stamps. Give me some land, I'll grow my own food. Point is this. The disparity may fuel the perception in your image, though it's worth noting that implementation gaps in historical context also shape outcomes. So let's put it this way. There's a reason why that image exists. It exists because it's based in reality. Other groups have gotten a piece of the cake. But when black folks ask for a piece of the cake, people go, no, that would be racist. Was it racist to do an Asian program, or was it racist to do a Native American program, or was it racist to do DACA? But when black people talk about some stuff that we need for our community, it's racist. And that's why the image. And that's why Tim Black is up here advocating. And I know it may be butthurt. It may butthurt some people. Some people get upset because they don't understand. So hopefully, when you get upset, you'll rewind this. You'll get it. I can't assume that you know what I know unless I tell you what I know. And I hope that video clears it up for you. We ain't asking for the world, Johnson. We just asking for our slice of the cake, baby. That's all. Like they got. Capiche? All right, folks, let's end this show. Let's clap it up for that. What the heck? I think I did all right. Man, we're almost done, Johnson. My last segment will be the Epstein segment. Man, I like to start this segment by saying this story ain't going to go away. I don't know what Trump and the people are thinking. It ain't going away. Let's get it, Johnson.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
What a massive, unforced error by the Trump administration. Donald Trump would love this story to go away, but in fact, interest is climbing higher and higher, to quote Jackie Wilson. Look at this. Google searches for Epstein up 1,200% this week versus last. And get this, it is currently the top topic search with Trump on Google alongside his presidency. So Donald Trump normally, leans in stories in which there's controversy, like tariffs, for example. This is a story in which he's trying to get away from, basically saying, why is anyone still interested in this story? But the bottom line is people are very interested in this story to historic degrees, at least this week.
Give us some perspective. You see that 1,200 number about other stories in comparison, how people are viewing this one.
Yeah, okay. So, I mentioned tariffs earlier on, right? Epstein has been Googled a lot since Monday. He has actually been Googled 1.4 times as much as tariffs has been Googled. And that is, of course, a huge news story. How about Grok, which is another insane news story this week? I mean, my goodness gracious. But in fact, Epstein has been Googled 2.5 times as much as the Grok story has been Googled. So the bottom line is this is a story in which there's a lot of interest. And it's one of the few stories in which both Steve Bannon and Elon Musk are going after Trump. At least the Trump administration, he's managed to bring together two parts of the administration or two parts of the fan base that have normally been against each other.
Yeah, you can bet on anything, and this proves it. What are you seeing as far as whether or not people think that they will actually release these Epstein files?
Yeah, I know my buddy Vin from Jersey would love for the Trump administration to release more Epstein files. But get this, Trump releasing more Epstein files in 2025. This is the betting market odds. You go back 2 months ago, it was 43%. You go back even a month ago, it was 39%. But now it's just at 20%. I think that there are going to be a lot of the normally MAGA fan base who are going to be very disappointed. And this is all a self-inflicted error by Trump and the Trump administration.
Many in the administration were pushing all these conspiracy theories, promising bombshells when they got into office. and nothing.
It turns out what goes around sometimes comes around when you push conspiracy theories.
That is true. All right, Harry Enton, it is a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
Over to you, Kate.
Where are you on Pam Bondi resigning?
No, I'm not going to condemn Pam Bondi because she takes orders from the White House. She doesn't make unilateral decisions. She does what she's told to do. That's the way President Trump runs the administration. None of the cabinet heads make independent decisions. They all come out of the West Wing and the White House, all of them. So, you know, you could sacrifice her,
right?
But it is a bad look for Donald Trump. You can't justify not being more upfront about a case that's captured the attention of millions of Americans.
AOC has had nothing to...
I want to stop right there for a second, Johnson. Look, first things first, man, this thing is not going away, obviously, and I'm glad it's not going away. We need people need to see the light about Donald Trump, about what's really happening with his administration. They also need to know these people are not being honest, okay? What they're trying to do now, the play right now, it seems, is they want to throw Pam Bondi under the bus, as Bill O'Reilly just pointed out, in order to save themselves. Because, was it Patel, Vakish, and Bongino, they all ran on talking about this stuff. They kept talking about they're going to get this stuff released and we're going to stand behind it. We're going to put stuff out. We're going to tell the truth. And they were making it seem like they were going to be the insurgents to go in and do what Biden people would never do, what the Obama people would never do, what none of the run-of-the-mill Republicans would ever do. And look at what they actually are doing. Nothing. So this needs to be exposed. Yeah, my job here, and I define what it is. It's not a job that's given to me by anybody. I feel like my job here is to try to call balls and strikes to the best of my ability. It's hard when you're a Democratic Party hater, but it ain't hard on this one. Look, Republicans don't need to be Republicans. Republicans need to be independent too. And this is a clear example of why. If you can't look at your president and say, hey, dude, what's going on? Don't hide behind Pam Bondi. You know damn well Pam Bondi don't call the shots. That's why she's there. Anybody that's working anybody working in the Trump administration reports to Trump. This is not the last time. The first presidency, he had people that didn't listen to him, that did what they wanted to do sometimes. Then he fired their ass. Well, he ain't fired Pam. Maybe he will. Maybe that'll be the play. Maybe that's what he'll have to do to save face on this thing. Fire her and say, why did she do it? But he's already out defending her. But it's going to come. It's going to come to the point where he's going to have to sacrifice her. Or Democrats will have this is a golden ring given to the Democrats, man. That's why they're going to lean in. They're going to lean in on this because this benefits them. Oh, man, they see blood in the water on this one. Oh, God. It's looking good. And to that point, speaking of blood in the water, Johnson, speaking of unforced error, Johnson, and it's not unforced in the sense of when you play with guns, when you play with fire, you get burnt. People were using the fire of the Epstein files in order to ingratiate themselves, to soften up the public, to make it seem like they're the everyday kind of guy. You can trust them. And they're going to fight for the things you care about. Well, now they get to bite you in the ass. And you had to know this was coming. That's why it's an unforced error. But speaking of people chomping at the bit, Democrats, check this out.
Say about the attacks on the ICE agents. Can you believe that? But the Epstein fiasco gets her attention. You see what she posted today?
Capture the attention.
He's going to go, and Cuomo's going to go in on AOC. And I'm here for it.
Millions of Americans.
AOC has had nothing to say about the attacks on the ICE agents. Can you believe that? But the Epstein fiasco gets her attention. You see what she posted today? Wow, who'd have thought that electing a rapist would have complicated the release of the Epstein files? Hope it goes viral, because that's all you're about. What have you ever done to fight for the release of the Epstein files? Huh? You sent out a few tweets over the years just to try to what? Ride the wave? Where are your resolutions? Where are your speeches on the floor? Where are your demands? Nothing. Just like the rest of your propaganda and your false promises. It's great for you for being developing a following, but it's not much in terms of being a leader when you get nothing done and you just play the game of advantage. You are no better than the people you think you oppose on the right.
Trump. I like that segment from Cuomo, man, and I've been critical of him before, and I'll probably be critical of him again. But I like what he just said there, because that's really all they're doing, and that's what both sides do from time to time. But hey, call it out when it happens, no matter who does it. And yeah, that's what she's doing. You know, damn well Biden was in the office. They come up with reasons not to release it, and she be quiet. You know, damn well she would be. Come on, man. Shit, see, Burley, we're talking about Israel. And very carefully talking about that. And people are dying. You know she wouldn't be talking about this. She's talking about it now because it benefits her politically. That goes for all of them. Let's see what Stephen A. Smith had to say.
No matter what you may think about him, if you are on the right, you could not ask for better than what he has done, because what he has done is what they have said they wanted and have been trying to get done for years. And even they admit that he's doing their bidding, yet they're in an uproar because the Department of Justice said there's no client list and the Epstein file case is closed. Really? I mean, I'm wondering I got to talk to Steve Bannon. I got to talk to him. I got to talk to some of these people, you know, the Tucker Carlsons of the world and everybody going crazy over the Epstein client list. That's what you're concerned about? I mean, you've got such a hard-on for the president that you are losing your mind. With all the things, again, if you are a member of the right, you're a centrist, you're a leftist, you can't be too happy with what he's doing. But on the right, you have the audacity to look at this man like he's I don't want to be facetious, but you're treating him like he's the Antichrist right now because of the Epstein list. That's what you're mad about? I do find myself a bit shocked by that. I'm like, damn, I expected folks on the right to have a lot better things to complain about than that. But they really, I don't even want to bring up his name, but you know who it was that was crying on his podcast. You know.
Alex Jones.
A few days ago because the Epstein list wasn't released. Really? Really? That's what Bongino. I respect the hell out of Bongino.
Why? Why do you respect the hell out of him?
Really do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with everything he said, but I have profound respect for him.
Why?
And the service to our country being.
Why?
You know, doing the things that he has done. But that's what you're reportedly contemplating resigning. You're the deputy director of the FBI. Really?
All right. Okay, before we get to that, I got to say this. I got to respond to Stephen A., man. Stephen A., my brother, I'm glad the Republicans are upset about this. I'm glad that MAGA's upset. They should be upset. They should hold Trump accountable. Look, man, you want politicians to do something, you got to hold their feet to the fire. Okay? And what a better reason to hold their feet to the fire than children being trafficked. And a bunch of rich assholes, privileged elites, having access to those children and not going unpunished. Okay, as we know right now, there was a ring of activity, of nefarious activity, assault on young minors. We know this, right? And now we know that only two people, really one person's been able to pay any type of price for that, and that would be Ghislaine Maxwell. Epstein's not here. His price hasn't been paid. Okay, but we know everybody who's been there, who benefited from the use of either the planes in order to fly in on the fly list. My brother pointed this out in the show last week, a couple days ago. We got two lists, fly list, client list. Blackmail people, client list, right? Flight list, flight log list. We got two lists of people here, all right? So those people should be exposed. So I'm glad, I'm very happy that we got MAGA people with some integrity. Holding Trump apart, holding him responsible. This is more than the Democrats would do. Stephen A. just solidified that he is garbage. He doesn't know Stephen A., who also won't come on this show. I've extended my hand. I've invited you, Stephen A. You people said you busy. Everybody's too busy to talk to me. Some Republicans, they'll come talk. Van came and then he ghosted. Shouldn't have trusted him. I thought he was a stand-up guy, but he folded to the pressure. Guess I won't be going on the Breakfast Club after all, huh, Van? Yeah, I had a feeling Charlamagne knew who I was and didn't like me. Probably was Kamala's team that told him that to mess with me. Anyway, point is this. That's got nothing to do with anything, Tim. Just want people to know that there's all this shit going on behind the scenes that you don't know about. Listen, I got to give credit to the MAGA people for holding people accountable, for holding Trump accountable. You want something out of your president or any leader, you got to hold their feet to the fire. People do things because they have to. They don't do things always because they want to. Okay, so whatever you want to get out of Trump, you got to force the issue. You got to make someone do it. You got to make it uncomfortable not for them to ignore you. That's what you do. Stephen A. Smith hurt himself immensely in this piece because he shows he has no core. Man, you don't even understand why people will be upset. We're talking about people's lives here. We're talking about the elites getting away with trafficking children. You don't understand why that might be an important issue? Yeah, okay, fine, tariffs, fine, deportations. Yeah, you ran on doing that. What, you want a cookie? That's what you said you were going to do if you were elected. You also said you were going to do this. Just because Stephen A. doesn't have a backbone, just because Stephen A. doesn't have any ethics, he's just an opportunist. And it's evident. It's evident in this. Yeah, you would like to know some things, but if you can't know, you can't know. I mean, and then to throw Bondi under the bus again, oh, the Department of Justice won't give. They said there's nothing there. And the Department of Justice said, oh, come on, Johnson. We know people that work for Trump. Those people work for Trump. Pam Bondi works for Trump. If he said give the documents up, release everything you got, she would. He told her not to. Sort of like when Joe Manchin in West Virginia and whatever her name was, Kirsten Sinema, were going against bills and legislation that Biden said he wanted, and he said he couldn't get them convinced to vote. We all knew that Biden could, well, a lot of us knew, a lot of us understood that Biden wasn't leaning on them to get that policy done, to get that legislation passed. He wanted them to vote the way they did, or they wouldn't have done it. He'd have made it very uncomfortable for them to run for re-election. One bowed out and didn't run again. I think Kirsten's gone. I don't know what's up. But I know Manchin. Anyway, the point is this. At the end of the day, you either ride for what you ride for, pressure who the powerful people are, pressure them to get what you want. That's your requirement. Stephen A. is embarrassing in this segment because he is acting like a person with no moral compass. If you're going to stand up for something, this is a primary example. Look, Epstein's dead. Ghislaine's in jail. The only people left are the people that did things. Rush him. Rush him. And anybody giving Trump backlash on this, good. Steve Bannon, good. Tucker Carlson, good. Elon Musk, good. Let's keep going. It should.
This breaking news, sources tell CNN that Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino has told people that he's considering resigning amid a major clash between the FBI and DOJ over the continued fallout from the release, or lack thereof, of the Jeffrey Epstein memo. Joining us right now in files, joining us right now on the phone is CNN anchor and chief White House correspondent Caitlin Collins. Caitlin, what more are you learning?
Yeah, Fred, it remains to be seen if he actually follows through with what he has told colleagues. But what we do know is that Dan Bongino has told people he is considering resigning as the deputy director of the FBI over the fallout that has continued ever since this memo was released.
All right, folks. Garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Listen here, folks. Dan Bongino ain't going nowhere. This is all show. This is all theatrics. They're taking a page out of the Democratic playbook here on this one, Johnson. Come on, man. Pay a body what should be sacrificed for this. I don't know. That remains to be seen. But Dan Bongino, he knows what time it is. This is all behind the scenes. They're running plays right now. You run down, do a down and out. You run over there, do a butterfly, button hook, whatever the hell. Turn around, I hit you in the bread box. Be ready. The ball will be waiting for you when you finish your route. This is what's going on with the Democrats or with the Republicans or with the Trump administration. It's a page right out of the Democratic handbook. Put on a show. Flood the zone. So that's what's happening. Everybody's playing their role. Alex Jones acting all brokenhearted. Steve Bannon is acting insulted. And Tucker Carlson's acting like he's, it's all a game. At the end of the day, there's a reason why Trump sat there looking very guilty. In fact, I got to find a clip. Because some of y'all may not have seen it. They showed it, but they did not play it. They did not play it, Johnson. Where is the clip at, Johnson? Fuck. That's not the one. Damn it, that's not the one. Damn. Hey, baby. I'm doing a show. Yeah. What you doing? Huh? Pop busy now, but I love you. Okay, so now we want to look for, let's look for Trump, Epstein. It's got to be quick. It's got to be like the first thing. Come on, where's that video where he responds? And I'm trying to tell you folks, if you saw him, here we go. That's it. This has got to be it. This is horrific, man. I don't care who you are. You see this clip. You look at his reaction. He looks guilty as hell. Somebody in my previous live stream show pointed it out. So let's get this on the screen for everybody, because some people have jobs, Tim, and they're not on Twitter. They're not on X. Or they would be following you at Real Tim Black on X. Here goes the clip.
Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure. If
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was...
Okay, let's stop right here and let's point out something here. Trump sounds very guilty in this video. Yeah, he sounds very guilty in this video. I'm not sugarcoating, I'm not putting it on. I'm not gonna play that game with y'all. We know what it is. It's like a guy running for deflection. Oh, you gonna ask that? You gonna ask me how to Cedric did instead of saying, you gonna answer that, dog? In front of my kids, sir? You gonna answer that in front of my kids? Let me at him. President always be fighting people. Look, the point is this. Donald Trump sounded like somebody with something to hide, and like this was all scripted, the response, and he wanted to have this retort. Now, this may work, this Jedi mind trick may work on only the most demented of the MAGA group, which is probably 40% of them, who will fall for the Jedi mind trick where he goes, come on, we're above this. We don't need this. This is not important. What are we doing still stuck in the past? Let's look forward. Stop talking about old shit. Skip the question. Yeah, that sounds like somebody with something to hide who may be appearing in something, or maybe other powerful people who are donors of his campaign or donors to the Republican Party, or powerful people who may appear on this list. Remember, this is not all about Trump. It just may be in Trump's best interest that this not come out. It does not have to be that it's Trump. In fact, I don't even believe it is Trump on the list. And if it is Trump on the list, it's along with a lot of other people too. Okay? So, because if it was just Trump, Biden would have put this shit out because they've had this list since 2007. Once again, folks, they grabbed these documents in 2007. 2007, right? Isn't that when Epstein got captured? Well, picked up. Let's go to Grok, Johnson. I got to know this stuff. I got the Grok app. Okay, Grok. Let's do this in real time, Grok. Hey, Grok, when did Jeffrey Epstein's house get raided? When did they collect the documents? What year and month was that, or day was that when that stuff was collected by the U.S. government? Why are you not talking? See, I wanted you to talk back. I guess I'm not in voice mode. Here we go. 2005, the Palm Beach, I was wrong. Jeffrey Epstein's properties were raided multiple times as part of investigations into his sex trafficking crimes. The key raids mentioned in the sources are Palm Beach, Florida, October 20th, 2005. The Palm Beach police searched Epstein's home after allegations of sexual abuse of a minor. Manhattan, New York, July 6 through 7, 2019. The FBI raided Upper East Side townhouse of 71st Street. 2019, also Virgin Islands, August 12th through the 13th. When were the documents collected? October 2005, Palm Beach, they collected documents. July 6th and August 12th on both occasions, all occasions. So additional document releases occurred 2019 to 2024. Okay, so that's what we got to know. So 2019, obviously that was under... Was Trump still in office? Yeah, Trump was still in office. Trump was in office in 2019. Then Biden took office. I don't know, man. I'm sure anything that Trump had, Biden had access to as well. I tend to believe that if there was something incriminating that solely incriminated Trump, it would have been released under Joe Biden. That's one way to get him out the race. Works a lot more than some trumped up charges about Stormy Daniels. Yeah, one night it was Stormy Daniels 20 years ago. Ain't gonna do it. I was stupid to begin with. So yeah, kick that. So anyway, but just remember that there's more in the line than just Trump. Okay, some of this, I tend to believe that if you got a list, it's got a lot of names on it. What good would a list be if it just had one name on it? So we're talking about other people. Some people are saying it's possible that Epstein worked for Mossad, and that he wasn't working alone. He was working on behalf of others, and this has some things to do with certain national security organizations doing the bidding of those intel organizations in order to get leverage on people globally, internationally even, right? So this could have far-reaching impacts beyond Donald Trump. But the bottom line is, the information's here. Trump is not a president, and it looks bad because he has the power. He has the power to release it, or he appears to have the power. Which truly, some people would debate me about how much power the president truly has. Last but not least, let me just clear it up. We'll be very honest here. I'm glad this is happening. I'm glad he's getting scrutiny. I'm glad he's on a hot seat. I think you should keep him on the hot seat. Make your demands, MAGA. Prove you're not like the Democrats, that you will ride for something that you believe in, even if it ticks off Trump, even if it's against his wishes. Because one of the complaints, recently I did a segment, and the person in this segment was going on and on about how, Joy Reid it was. Joy Reid was saying how MAGA would do anything Trump says. Yeah, MAGA is doing something that Obama worshipers never did. They're holding Trump's feet to the fire right now. I don't remember Democrats holding Obama's feet to the fire. I don't remember it. I don't remember them having an urge of conscience, a consciousness that said a crisis of conscience and said, we got to hold Obama to this now. Now, the people that did that got X'd out, lost their careers or lost access and basically got de facto punished, put in the corner until he got out of office. People like Dr. Cornel West and Tavis Smiley come to mind. Okay? That's what I remember. And everybody else is shut up and got quiet. Like, what's that fast-talking professor who ain't good for nothing? With the glasses? Thinks he's his hip-hop historian? Michael Eric Dyson. Those types of folks. You know what I'm saying? They all fell in line behind, when they saw that happen, they all fell in line. So, what MAGA's doing, regardless of all the name calling, all the bickering and all the mean-spirited stuff the Democrats say, particularly these Democratic commentators, right? Liberal commentators, they talk about MAGA people, just robots and zombies. Yeah, well, they're holding their president accountable. We all know you wouldn't do that if a Democrat was in office because you had an opportunity to. Biden was just in office, and why didn't the documents come out? Why didn't you rally for Biden to do the right thing? Oh, suddenly you got a conscience. Suddenly you care about the children. All right, guys. Hey, look, I'm Tim Black. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here for the Tim Black Show. We do this Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 days a week. Tune in 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so my West Coast people and my East Coast people can be in the same place for at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Some of them can stay for the whole show. But that's why we do it that way. You know what to do. Find me at Real Tim Black. Join us. Become a member. And with that, let's go to the comments, man. Where are my people, my people, my people? Yo. My grandbaby's calling me. What's up, baby? If Trump was a friend of Epstein, the deep state would have released it to stop his second run. Hey, these are the type of things I'm thinking, but you know what I'm saying? But I'm sure there's more. Because he can't be the only one that goes out, right? He can't be how do you release him without releasing anything else? There's probably a way to do it. You feel what I'm saying? But it's obvious they were friends. It was in Florida where the resorts are. He had a house, like Epstein had a house in Florida and Trump was in Florida. Where's this thing at? Come on, man. The Trump hotels in Florida, right? Tim, you should interview Whitney Webb. Hey, what's up, Jazz? How you doing? 4 years to get rid of evidence. 4 years to get rid of evidence. Oh, it's interesting. I don't know. I hear all types of talk about who's in those travel logs. Johnson. Look at my brother. Oh, Ida. Oh, my sister Ida. Sunglasses got me off guard. Here, look. I hope they find out Obama and Michelle were at the private island. That would be beautiful, man. That would be beautiful. Or in a tape. Jesus. Man, you guys got me rolling on this one. Oh man, that's so funny. Okay. DeAndre up in the building. What you said? Trust the party. What DeAndre say? I missed stuff. So I be missing all the good stuff, man. What's going on, people? Malcolm, I'm watching the eye behind. You missed the LA is going to give monetary help to illegals because they're scared to leave their houses while they shut down FBI reparations in California. What? I got to go back and do another segment on that. Damn. Wow, I see a lot going on in the conversation, man. I will not jump into that fight, but there are people with some very harsh opinions, and they're standing their ground on their opinions on this whole thing. A lot going, a lot of conversation on this Epstein thing. I'm gonna have to put this out as a separate clip. Hope I got the Epstein thing pretty much. Hope I covered many bases and made some solid points, because this thing is crazy. But that's it. That's all I got, man. Well, that's a lot of conversation. Look, I appreciate you guys being here for the Tim Black Show once again. Thank you for your support, your input, all that great stuff. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the party going. You know how to get me. You know how to reach me. Hit me up at timblacktv.com. Become a member. Join us. I'll be seeing you again on Sunday night, God willing. Sunday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got number love for you. Remember, don't let anybody take your cornbread, Johnson. That's your cornbread. Keep your cornbread. Don't let them take it to Epstein's Island. I don't know where that came from, but just... Oh, and like I always end the show, where are my ladies? Where are my ladies? Where are my ladies? There they go. Got a heavy heart tonight, y'all, but thank you for helping me with it.